farmers in our country, in India, are considered as living heroes. Then, why is it that these living heroes have to march on streets to voice their demands? Why are these heroes in distress? Is it really because of the farm laws that these farmers have to voice their dissent? Or is it the politics which is stimulating mass protests all over the country? Well, to know about this, let's begin with today's topic, that is farm laws and political tussle. Hello, and a very warm welcome to the Grapevine, the best place for you to be informed. My name is Shaurya Joshi, and today we are going to have a detailed discussion on farm laws and political tussle. Now, the farmers of our country, particularly of Punjab, have been protesting at the Delhi borders over the past 20 days, demanding scrapping of the three farm bills introduced by the union government in the parliament earlier this year. Now, these are those three farm bills, but that one farm bill which is creating trouble here, which is very controversial, is Farmers Produce, Trade and Commercial Bill 2020. Now, this bill, it aims to dismantle the existing trade and distribution monopoly enjoyed by the Food Corporation of India, FCI, and Agricultural Market Produce, APMC, which means that the farmers of your country can now sell their produce outside the designated districts, outside the Mandis. They are no longer confined to any particular area like the Mandis. They can sell their produce to whoever they want to. They can sell their produce directly to the private buyers, eliminating, or I could say affecting, the middlemen as well. And at the same time, the farmers would advance their interactions with the market directly. So these three bills, they basically seek to break this monopoly of the government regulated mandis. And why? Because now the farmers are dealing with the companies directly. And these three bills, they remove the government's ability to, impose restrictions. So now the farmers have no restrictions, they can deal with the companies on their own terms. But then, why is there a fear? Why are the farmers in fear? What is the problem? Since the government has reduced its interactions, its interference in this issue and given the farmers a lot of freedom in this sector, the farmers fear. Because now, since they can deal with the private buyers, the corporate houses directly, the relevance of the mandis diminishes. And since the state governments earn their revenue directly through the mandis, the farmers fear that with the end of the mandi system, lack of support and interaction of the government, the MSP, minimum support price regime of the government, would also end along with the mandi system of the government, which is not the case at all. MSP will continue. Now, this idea of the government is good, but to turn this vision into reality, it is very challenging. Now, I must also tell you that MSP is something which is not legally recorded in any laws. It has never been recorded in any of the earlier laws as well. So, the current farm bills also make no mention of it. But it does not mean that it isn't there. MSP is very much there. And the Prime Minister of our country, the Agricultural Union Minister of our country, they have stated this repeatedly in the parliament that MSP will continue. But the confusion, the perplexity is causing fear among the farmers that MSP is not guaranteed to remain in place. The government had actually passed these three laws as ordinances in June, and this had sparked protests in Punjab initially, which the government did not consider. So here the government went wrong. The government did not initially judge the situation properly. The government did not take notice of it. And this pushed the farmers to take their protests to Delhi to prevent the government from taking any punitive measures on Punjab. After this, it was quite expected that the centre and the farmer organizations would talk to each other. And they did. After the first round of talks between the centre and the farmers on 13th of November, the farmers were on their way to Delhi to voice their dissent, calling this march the Delhi Chalo March. And all of this has now been doing rounds on social media. And soon after the farmers were given the permission to hold demonstrations at the Nirankari Samagam ground in Burari area near New Delhi, politics also found a way to enter into this issue and, crept stealthily movements towards it. How? The Aam Aadmi Party, the Delhi's government, took advantage of the situation and supported the farmers by providing them basic facilities. The Aam Aadmi Party MLA Raghav Chadda urged the centre to have a dialogue with the farmers and said that the Modi government should not make it an ego conflict and should not rob the benefits of the farmers. And on that account, the centre invited the Punjab organisation farmers for another round of talks on 3rd of December. Now meanwhile, Haryana Chief Minister Manoharlalkhatter's words brought a different angle to the story when he said that he has reports of Khalistani miscreants being present among the farmer protesters. Now, with this term Khalistani miscreants, I want you to refer to the assassination of former Prime Minister of India Indira Gandhi owing to this Khalistani movement. Now, this Khalistani element brought into the story has, by the Chief Minister of Haryana, has brought a different angle to the story which has lent the focus of many people. Literally, many people, the media and people even on social media platforms. And now, amid the ongoing protests, it was quite expected that Prime Minister Modi would come out and speak about it. And he did on his monthly radio program, Man Ki Baat, on 29th of November. Prime Minister Modi said that these agricultural reforms have brought new opportunities to the farmers and have bestowed new rights upon them. PM Modi said that the recent improvements have been made after a lot of thought and contemplation to reduce the problems of the farmers and to fulfill their demands and promises. Now, if we come back to Haryana Chief Minister Manoharlalkhatter's words, it's not only him, but many people have accused the ongoing protests of being infiltrated by Khalistanis. So, why is it so? Because there are a few people among the farmer protesters who have been carrying banners of Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale, the one who committed the acts of sacrilege in the Golden Temple. And many people in this mob of farmer protesters have also been commenting about the assassination of Indira Gandhi. So, this raises serious questions for the forces who have put these protests in motion, and these forces are around 30 farmer organizations. But we haven't heard anything like that from them. We haven't heard anything in support of Jarnail Singh Bhindranwale from these organizations. So is it a political game? Is it a strategy of the BJP or the Haryana government? Because if there is any Khalistani element in the mob, it would be really difficult for the Congress and the Aam Aadmi Party to openly support the farmer protesters and many people on social media. And so, the Punjabi protesters would in a way lose their allies and supporters. Now, this issue got bigger and bigger, and it mushroomed so much that this caught the attention of international leaders as well. Canada's Prime Minister Justin Trudeau was the first international leader to speak about it. Justin Trudeau said that this situation in India is concerning, it is distressful, and he said not recognizing the problem would mean he being negligent about the rights of the peaceful protesters. He expressed his concern over the safety of the farmers. Now, the Ministry of External Affairs of India responded to Trudeau's remarks, saying that India has seen enough of ignorant comments by a number of Canadian ministers now who have no idea of the situation. India asked Canada to stop this now and made it very clear to Canada that this is India's internal matter. Yes, this is our internal matter, but this could potentially damage the relations the two countries share. And it's not only Canada. In fact, many ministers from United Kingdom have also openly criticized Prime Minister Modi for not handling the situation properly. So I believe international scrutiny has also made it difficult for Prime Minister Modi and has in fact influenced his approach towards the farmers. Now, in another round of talks with the farmers, the Union Agricultural Minister Narendrasingh Tomar and the Union Minister Piyush Goyal on 1st of December had a talk with the farmer organizations. They told them that the government would constitute a committee consisting of government representatives and agricultural experts to discuss on the laws. This was rejected by the farmers, pushing the date for talks further to 3rd of December. Now, if I try to bring to you the plot of the story, you can say that the Haryana government and the centre are on one side, following a similar approach, and the Punjab government and the Delhi government are on the other side, supporting the farmers. So now, this is politics, and anything can happen any time. Till now, where the Punjab government and the Delhi government were supporting each other, backing each other's views, now they had come to a point of accusing each other of stopping to low-level politics. Why? Because the Delhi police had sought Delhi government's approval to change 9 stadiums into temporary detention centers for the protesting farmers. Now, though Kejriwal has always been supporting the farmers, their cause and these protests, he had to close the Delhi borders because of the COVID-19 crisis. And to this, the Punjab Chief Minister's office said that Kejriwal was giving way to dirty politics on account of his failure of not being able to fulfill the farmers' demands and not being able to take care of the farmers. And to this, the most awaited response of Kejriwal to CM of Punjab was that the Punjab government is involving itself into dirty politics and in such a fragile situation has been completely giving false allegations against the Delhi government. Meanwhile, the Modi government had been attempting, though unsuccessfully, to, allow the farmers to end their protests. In the meantime, the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh, RSS, affiliated Bharatiya Kisan Sangh, BKS, and All India Kisan Sangharsh Coordination Committee all came in support of the farmers, saying that these laws serve the interests of the big private companies and big traders and not the farmers. Now this started to create a lot of trouble for the Modi government. Modi government started to get surrounded from all the corners now. And soon, after another round of meeting of the centre and the farmers ended, it ended inconclusive. Because the farmers were sticking to just one statement: abolish the farm laws. And after this, what does this mean? This meant that the Chila border on the Noida link, the Tikri border, the Jaroga border, the Singhu border, all would continue to remain closed for the traffic movement owing to these farmer protests. Now, the deadlock over the farm laws continued. Why? Because even after having another round of talks with the farmers categorically rejected all the proposals of the centre. Because now the farmers do not want to settle for anything less than the repeal of the three farm laws. But another challenge for the BJP on the way was to prevent its government from falling in Haryana. Why do I say so? Because in Haryana it's the BJP government which rules. Now Haryana has 90 assembly seats, out of which BJP has 40, and plus the support of 10 MLAs from the Janeg Janata Party, which is the partner alliance of BJP. Now these 10 MLAs from the Janeg Janata Party, JJP, they support the farmers, which means against the BJP. And this is creating extra pressure over the leader of JJP to also join the 10 MLAs and support the farmers. If these 10 MLAs, they leave BJP's support, and if BJP loses their support, then this number would fall from 50 to 40. That is less than the majority mark, which would mean the potential fall of the BJP government in Haryana. And this could be the immediate potential cost that the BJP will have to face due to the farmers' protests. In conclusion, I would like to say that the Narendra Modi government has in some way significantly softened its stance. By this I mean there are a number of intermediaries which have caused the Modi government to change its approach towards the farmers. The pressure from the opposition parties, the huge wave created on social media, in support of the farmers, and the pressure, extra pressure of international scrutiny have played a major role in deciding the path the government chooses and the decision the government takes now. So, what must the government do now? The government must communicate with the farmers, remove this misunderstanding, and work on the loopholes of the three farm bills. As of now, it is unlikely that the government will listen to the farmers, their demand of repealing the laws. But yes, this softened and lighter version of the government sends a message to people on social media, to the political parties, and even the concerned countries that the government, Modi government, is trying its best, is trying to negotiate, but it is the farmers who are rigid. So that was all for today. Please like, share this video with all your friends and family, hit the bell icon and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. See you later.